Hello, everyone. This is the IRS reminding you to pay your taxes, otherwise, there will be death. Just kidding, I don't work for the government. My name is Delver.
Yeah.
I'm here with a deck tech for this lovely little format that we call Tiny Leaders, now actually properly known as Tiny Leaders Reborn, because Tiny Leaders has died. They have failed to pay their taxes. Joining me is my lovely friend, also enemy, mostly friend though, Monsieur Esper.
Yeah, we're back from death this time.
Indeed, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what we are. I'm a lich.
Who
You're an eldritch
knows?
horror. We're something here.
I'm whatever I am.
Damn right we are. So yeah, we're gonna be doing a little fun little deck tech for you. This is a personal pet project deck of mine. I think what in the entire server there's maybe like one other person that touches on this kind of topic, but it's mostly just been me that's doing this.
Yeah.
Uh,
Not too
s-
many people playing taxes right now.
nah. Like there's people that have like attempted to like dabble in it, but none that have like fully committed to it.
Yeah.
So so yeah,
There's definitely some more Thalia things going on, but
yeah.
we're going full right down the middle, straight taxes.
Quick history lesson. So, Death and Taxes is more commonly known as a legacy deck archetype. Has been around in modern way back in the day, but with the introduction of all the horizons, has kind of fallen out of favor. But mostly, you'll find this archetype in Legacy. However, though, we have chosen to bring it to Tiny Leader. And so, with the Tiny Leader, for those of you that don't know how it works, imagine a 1v1 Commander Light format. You play with a 50 card list, 10 card sideboard, uh, Commander, Singleton, deck building rules. The only other restriction is that everything in your deck must be mana value 3 or less. There are a few nuances, a few clarifications, but those are your basics.
But
So,
yeah, that's largely what it is.
yeah.
Yeah,
So,
it's all the little tiny things.
like, oh, what about
We're
flip
all just
cards?
real
What about
small over
adventures? What about
here.
split cards? You'll figure it out. So,
Yeah.
moving into the actual deck tech, obviously with the premise of death and taxes, when you think of this archetype, there's really only one creature, one card in general too, that just you think of death and taxes, and it's the first thing that comes to mind. It's like the face card of the format, and not only is that the face card, she is also going to be our leader for this deck. We are talking about Thalia, Guardian of Thraben. Easily one
The
of the most
classic 2-1 first strike.
oh yeah, easily one of the most classic iconic characters in the Death and Taxes archetype, even in the White Weenie archetype.
Oh,
So, just a quick overview.
everyone loves Thalia.
Oh yeah, just a quick overview. Mono white, 2 mana, 2/1, first strike, non-creature spells cost 1 more to cast. Right? So just as a general overview, first of all, just being a 2 mana 2/1 with first strike in Tiny Leader, that's already a pretty good stat line. That
That takes down most 2 drops at this point.
takes
Creatures are
down,
getting smaller and wordier,
yeah.
but especially there's especially some of the black 1 drops that can get around her. But a
Uh
lot of creatures get taken down by 2 power first strike.
I mean, in black, it's mostly like what Moonshadow and Nethergoyf.
Yeah.
So like, just being a 2/1 with first strike, that alone is already a decent consideration to look at for your deck. But then we get to the more important line, which is the second line, which is non-creature spells cost 1 more to cast. That line alone can terrorize an entire format, much like what we see what it does in Legacy. And on top of that,
Absolutely.
that line also puts in work in Tiny Leader. There are quite a few spell-based decks. Amanatu is one. Uh, to a degree, to a degree. It's more of an annoyance for
This
Amanatu, but it's definitely one that's going to make them
but
be like, reconsider their math.
Thalia does a lot into a lot of archetypes. For actual the things it's really best against is combo. Shutting down Storm especially, but as well as the prowess type things.
Yeah,
That making them all cost 1 more is huge. For
yeah.
anyone who wants to cast Mishra's Bauble, Gitaxian Probe, Monastery Swift Spear, or anything that's even in the realm of the word storm, Thalia is great into those.
I don't think I have yet lost a match against Ralstorm just
Yeah,
because of that line.
yeah. Storm is arguably one of the top decks right now. So Thalia making a return, it's definitely a good time for that.
Yeah. The thing is that even with Storm being a top deck, it's also not a very common deck that you'll see just because of how knowledgeable of the lines you have to be. But once you have the lines down, you'll start rolling people. But again,
Yeah,
Thalia, just that singular line being the monkey wrench in the whole plan is just chef's kiss.
yeah. I personally play a lot of control. Mathis Fiendseeker is my big commander. God, Thalia is annoying to that plan.
Oh,
I'm gonna kill your things on curve and deploy creatures. She's very good at making me not line up removal well, and then also just beating my creatures.
oh, if you think Thalia is annoying against Mathis, you should see some of the other creatures that I main deck here. Oh,
Oh, absolutely.
you're gonna cry. So going into the main list, it's mostly like 90% creatures. Like if we remove actual land from the breakdown of a deck,
Yep.
95% of this deck will just be creatures. Like there's
Even including lands, it's over 50% creatures. Like
yeah.
it's mostly creatures.
You can see right here it's like 25 creatures not including Thalias. So like 26
Yep.
of my 50 main board is creatures. But speaking of creatures, let's look into some of these choices that we have. You're just kind of going down the list. So
And
first
for
one we
those of
have.
you who don't,
Yeah, go ahead.
for those of you who don't know as much about Death and Taxes, despite having 26 creatures, this is not an aggro deck. Death and Taxes is a control deck masquerading as a creature deck. It's
It
both of those things.
it plays like a
Yeah.
faster. It plays more like a lower to the ground mid range style. Whereas like
Yeah.
in your standard 60 card format, mid range you'd expect to be like, oh, I'm gonna be jamming to my 3 drops and my 4 drops and my 5 drops. Death and Taxes aims to do that same thing, but while staying lower to the ground by casting more impactful lower drops. They
Yep.
aim more to get as much quality for as little mana cost as possible. Which, going through some of these creatures here, you'll recognize there's a lot of really good creatures here that make a huge impact in some other
Absolutely.
formats. But going from there, let's talk about some of these first creature choices, right? So, first one on the chopping block,
Yeah.
we got the classic Archon of Emeria. I genuinely think with Archon, if Thalia was not the face card, Archon is the next pick.
Archon's
So,
definitely a bit newer than Thalia. Doesn't have quite the same sort of built up reputation, but man, this card is messed up.
So for 3 mana, we get a 2/3 that has flying, and we get each player cannot cast more than one spell each turn. Does not really affect us because we are more than fine with just play. Again, we're playing for quality, not so much quantity. So having a rule of law effect stapled to a body that flies, mind you, like that line alone right there, this card is playable.
Absolutely.
But now we get to the other monkey wrench of the card. Non-basic lands your opponent's control enter the battlefield tapped, which in Commander
Hmm.
is huge. Making all the fetch lands enter tapped, making all your shock lands, your dual lands, all your utility lands just come into play tapped is like insane.
Yeah. Like, especially if you're fighting a 2 color deck, a 3 color deck, basically every land's going to be non basic. They're going to have between 0 and 5 basics usually. And that's most of their lands entering tapped. And it's just so good into a fetch land. I'll play a Flooded Strand, it enters tapped. I'll crack it. I don't have a planes to get. I'll go get my Plateau. It also enters tapped.
So, yeah, no, like I said, if Thalia was not the face card of this archetype, I would strongly die on the hill that Archon of Emeria is the next pick to be the face card of this archetype.
Yeah.
So, Again,
Yeah,
very
Archon
strong.
is the sort of hateful creature that'll really slow the opponent down, but it also pivots really well into just hitting them for 2 a couple of times. Because
Yeah.
that is how this deck wins.
Mm-hmm.
That's the actual eventual win con of just whacking them with a couple creatures here and there.
Mm-hmm. All right. So we've talked about the pick 2 of the phase card. Now this one is going to be a little bit of a squander because I'm going to talk about 2 cards with this mechanic. So we're going to talk about Auriok Champion, but also we're going to talk about Sanctifier Invec because there's one very important line on both of these cards. So first off, with Auriok Champion, we have a 2-mana 1/1, and then with Sanctifier, we have a 2-mana 2/2. But these very first lines on both of these cards are criminally underrated for being good. Both of these cards say protection
They're
from
so good.
black and protection from red. Congratulations, I have played 2 bodies in my deck that dodge 99% of removal in this format.
Yep. Removal in this format is usually one of 3 colors: black, red, and white. The white removal, it's a little sparser. They don't get a shock every set. They don't get 2-mana removal every couple sets. White still has very good ones like Seam Rip, Swords to Plowshares, Portable Hole.
There's
But
March of
it's a little,
there's like
yeah,
March of Otherworldly
March,
Light. That's another really good one.
Prismatic Ending. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a decent amount of it, but there's not as much. And especially if you run into, well, Orzhov, Boros, this thing is going to be annoying to kill. That's even if they have the colors.
Mm-hmm.
If you run
Mm-hmm.
into Golgari, they're not killing it with a green spell.
Nope.
That's because that's not a removal color.
Nope.
Blue and green don't get good removal, and if they're a red or a black deck, they're usually gonna have that color of removal more than any other.
Mm-hmm. Like the amount of times that I run into like a Grixis deck or even Spider-Man 2099, who
Yep.
was my league game last week.
Mhm.
Auriok Champion put in ridiculous amount, or no, not Auriok, Sanctifier put in ridiculous amounts of work
Yep.
in that match just from having
Yeah.
that pro
And
red.
and
But
on Sanctifier specifically, it gets rid of all of the black and red cards from graveyards as well,
mm-hmm,
which is huge. Cards like Flage, Croxa, Underworld Breach, those are all
mm-hmm,
great cards in this
mm-hmm.
format, and this stops all of them. But even more so, it will just like prevent any graveyard shenanigans from those colors, really.
Mm-hmm.
It'll just keep it all down,
So
especially with cards like Nethergoyf being about.
yeah.
This will both keep it small and it can just block it forever.
Oh yeah. Barrowgoyf, not so much because Barrowgoyf does come with that trample keyword stapled onto it, but still, even able to mitigate a little bit of that damage is gonna
Barrowgoyf
like.
does not have trample.
Oh, it doesn't.
Barrowgoyf has trample and death touch and lifelink, both of which are
That's
prevented by protection
that's
from
what it is.
black.
I thought it had trample.
Yep.
I knew it had the lifelink. I thought it had
No.
trample.
Polygoyf has trample,
Oh my god.
which is not a playable card. Ursine Monstrosity, though, that one's good.
Yeah. But so going back to the whole exiling cards from graveyards, honestly, in a Ral Storm matchup, if I just go Thalia into Sanctifier, we might as well just scoop and go to the next game. Like that's how critical Sanctifier is against these red decks that do Underworld Breach shenanigans. Like it is insane. But along with the Sanctifier moving back to the Auriok Champion, so the other line on the Auriok Champion is that whenever another creature comes into play, you may gain 1 life. Being a symmetrical Soul Sister effect with the pro red, pro black, this thing will just generate life gain throughout the entire game for a ridiculous amount of time.
Yeah, into aggro, obviously it's great. If you're playing red deck wins, it blocks everything and gains life. But I mean, the win con for aggressive decks too is hitting you with creatures.
Mm-hmm.
This will both block them very well and gain life to make sure you're above them.
Mm-hmm.
Where
Mm-hmm.
then other cards like Thalia, Archon of Emeria, can actually hit them to death.
Mm-hmm.
Where this will keep your life total flush during.
Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, like, like I said, just that very first line alone, pro red, pro black, being able to dodge 95% of removal in this format while still having relevant effects in a game, easy includes. But what about Soul's Attendant and Soul whatever? No, no. I might be a fan of
Those are 1 mana 1.
I might be a fan
Yeah.
of Soul Sister effects, but if that's all they're doing is just Soul Sister and I'm not a Soul Sister deck, nah, nah.
Yeah.
Auric Champion though,
Yeah.
I'll take that one at least.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. You
Next,
might see another Soul Sister later, though.
yeah, but going on to the next card on the block. So this one was actually a recent addition that I added in. So I originally had the 3 mana Gideon that had that whole you get the emblem of like if you control a Gideon you can't lose. So I ended up taking that one out.
Of the
And
trials. Yep.
oh yeah. So currently we are testing Clarion Conqueror. We have a 3 mana 3/3 with flying. Activated abilities of artifacts, creatures, and planeswalkers cannot be activated.
Yeah.
Yo, dog, I
It's
heard
also
you're.
worth saying that cards like Slimefoot and Squee, strong commander in our format, it coming back from the graveyard is also stopped by this.
Mm-hmm. Because it is an activated ability. But I
Yeah.
mean, going beyond that, just into like other relevant decks that this affects, stops Grist from activating. Again, going back to that Ral
I don't think
Storm
it does stop
matchup.
Slimefoot and Squee, actually.
Going back to that Ral Storm matchup, but they flip Ral, it stops Ral. It stops Marath. Like this thing,
Oh,
unironically,
yeah.
stops quite a bit in our format. And while there are a few things in our own deck that it does stop, it is more of a detriment to our opponent than it is for our own things to be stopped. So, and
Also
again,
has sort of the stat line being a 3 mana 3/3 flying.
yeah,
That
like
kills people.
yeah, a 3/3 with flying that damage will add up very quickly over a game. So, like overall, just another prime example of like what the Death and Taxes archetype is all about. Just being like, oh, yeah, you can't do that thing. Have fun.
So I think I messed up. It does not stop Slimefoot and Squee. It's creatures, not creature cards. Graveyard abilities would still work.
Right. Oh well.
Sad. But still, Morath.
Oh yeah, but there's a couple sideboard cards that we're gonna look at later that I played Marath in week 1 of the league, and I'd managed to drop both of them in game 2, and Marath just cried. Marath just cried. But going on from here to our next card on the block. Again, this one's gonna be a little bit of a two-parter. We are looking at Cloud Midgard Mercenary paired with Stoneforge Mystic. Now, Stoneforge Mystic,
This is another very fun recent printing that's done some very strange things to the mono white space. Because it made equipment package because you have twice the number of good tutor creatures.
yeah. However, though, in this list in particular, there are 3 main grabs that we go for. 2 of them we will talk about later in the rest of the artifacts section. One of them actually is in our creature section, so we will get to that in a little second. But having Cloud and Stoneforge just be able to go find our equipment that will help prolong the game and advance our game plan especially with Stoneforge Mystic, just being able to just put that equipment into free or into play for free,
Yep.
completely avoiding the stack.
Yep.
Pretty
Both
good.
dodges counter spells, dodges something like Archon of Emeria. If you're casting one of the regular equipment that isn't a creature, dodges Thalia attacks.
So, yeah, we have classic Stoneforge Mystic and new edition Cloud as kind of our, hey, go find your beat stick that you're going to give to your creatures, along with a couple other things. Going from there, next on the chopping block, we have the absolute menace of the actual Commander format. We have the Draneth Magistrate. Now, this one's just,
The EDH All Star.
like, could not be more straightforward with this one. 2 mana, 1/3. Opponents can't cast spells from anywhere other than their hands. Basically, this just says, yeah, you're not playing your commander.
Yeah. But Commander's the big one, of course. But also any exile to draw effects, those are stopped. Underworld Breach, Escaping Titans, those again. Really just stopping those graveyard decks with this one. But
So-
Commanders as well, yeah.
Yeah. So, not really a whole lot to talk about with Draneth that isn't already widely known amongst the Commander EDH play space. Trust me, whatever happens over there, same thing here. Draneth is just being the same exact menace. Which also includes our next include, although not as effective in this format, we have the classic one-drop Esper Sentinel.
Yeah, this one's a funny little guy.
Now, Sentinel is a lot more effective in the actual commander play space because there's a lot of ways that you can like increase its power exponentially, and also people are doing more things with like mana rocks and acceleration and stuff like that. Not so much here because like eventually you'll just get to a point where it's like, oh, I have 5 mana on board and I'm only doing like 1 or 2 things a turn. Yeah, sure, I'll just pay the extra tax. It's only 1 extra. But it can still add up over quite a bit of time. Perfect example being in this last week when I played against Spider-Man 2099, I actually ended up drawing like 3 or 4 cards off of Esper Sentinel.
Yeah, get an Esper Sentinel down, get Thalia down turn 2. If they want Thalia, they'd have to pay a mana for the Thalia and then they pay for the Sentinel. You get a free card. If they do want to wait, you get to hit them for 3 and then play another creature.
God, could you just imagine that line? Just turn 1 Sentinel, turn 2 Thalia, turn 3 Archon?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, if you turn 3 Archon, now they still can't pay for the Sentinel tax. And they just have to bolt the Archon, give you a card on.
Oh man, Esper Sentinel never change. But yeah, much like the Draneth, not really a whole lot to talk about with the Sentinel that isn't already widely known from the Commander space. Now this next card though, this next one, this is a cheeky little bugger. We're talking about the Extraction
This one doesn't
Specialist.
see a lot outside Tiny.
No, Extraction Specialist.
This one's just a very clean 2-for-1 in this sort of deck, where you have a ton of creatures that are happy to just be on board. Creatures like Draneth, it doesn't really want to attack all that much anyway. And a 3/2 lifelink is a super real body.
For anyone that is a VOD listener or a podcast background listener, we have a 3 mana 3/2 with lifelink. When Extraction Specialist enters the battlefield, return target creature with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. That creature cannot attack or block for as long as you control Extraction Specialist. But yeah, like you said, basically being able to grab like any of my 1-drop or 2-drops that I don't really care about actually attacking, that they're more just there for the static effect, such as the Draneth Magistrate, the Auriok Champion, like Mother of Runes and Giver of Runes.
Yeah.
Perfectly fine targets to go grab.
One of the great value sort of lines in this deck It would be Extraction Specialist, pick up Cloud or Stoneforge, go get another equipment. That means you have a 3/2 body, and the Cloud or Stoneforge, and the equipment. Automatic 3 for 1.
Another cheeky little line that we can mention later, also included in equipment, is going to be quite cheeky. But yeah, no, like, Extraction Specialist, unironically, is one of those creatures that you don't mind, that you just play it, you get her value, and then you just start swinging for fences. Because the thing is like, sometimes there might be that creature that you really want back because it was doing work for you in terms of like combat damage, but now that it's gone, you kind of need it back so you can keep doing the combat damage. You can just start swinging for fences with the Specialist because the creature you reanimate is only pacified for as long as you have Specialist. Which means they either run the risk of...
If they want to keep something like Thalia from attacking, they gotta leave.
Yeah. They gotta deal with either taking 3 with lifelink, or unlock my Thalia, or unlock my Voice of Victory. So it's like, it becomes a very interesting gambit for your opponent to figure out, like, is what I reanimated worth taking 3 damage so it doesn't attack?
Yep.
So, alright, next on our list, we've got another Death and Taxes classic. We've got the
classic from the ages.
We got the Flicker Wisp. We have a 3-mana 3/1 with flying. When Flicker Wisp enters the battlefield, exile another target permanent. Return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. Now, again, because this says exile another target permanent, that means you can hit land. You can hit land with that effect. You can hit planeswalkers with that effect.
The big thing this one really wants to do is either flicker out one of your opponent's blockers you can swing in, flicker out one of their tokens, it's gone forever.
Cough, cough, Merit
or,
Leech.
What you really want to do, flicker out one of your own things. Like, have Extraction Specialist on board, play Flicker Wisp, ETB, another free creature. But this all 3/1 flyer, that's so good at just beating something to death.
Like, just Flicker Specialist, reanimate a creature, Flicker Ranger Captain, go tutor a 1-drop, Flicker Recruiter, go find a different creature, Flicker Lauren, who is actually our next card. Flicker...
Recruiter for Flicker Wisp, Flicker Recruiter, value.
Yeah. Like, I know people are all about the Thalia train, but, like, my trade-off of why I feel it is perfectly valid to run both is that Thalia is an attack trigger. Flicker Wisp is just an ETB.
Yeah.
Like, you can, if you have a way to just cheat
tiny
in...
leaders, just run both.
Yeah. Especially if you're in mono white. But, like, even just being able to cheat in Flicker Wisp about something like an Ether Vial, oh, chef's kiss.
No, they swing at you with 3 creatures when you're open. Jump into Flicker Wisp, delete one of them, trade with one of them. You've like almost negated that entire attack.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of cheeky plays you can do with a Flicker Wisp, which is why it's been a mainstay for so long. All right.
Yeah.
Going on to our next card, one that I've already mentioned earlier, we have Lauren of the Third Path. So we have a 3-mana 2/1.
So named Garnet till Alexandria's 17th.
Look, I didn't bother changing the art for it. All right, it's the Final Fantasy version, but
thanks, Final Fantasy.
But we have a 3-mana 2/1 with Vigilance. When Lauren of the Third Path ETBs, destroy up to 1 target artifact or enchantment, and then she has the ability tap, you and target opponent each draw a card. Oh my god, the amount of times this ETB effect to pop an enchantment saved my
Oh
life
yeah.
in some games was
Oh
insane.
yeah.
Uh,
Just inherent 2-for-1 face up. It's a solid body. It's got vigilance, which is always nice. Kills whatever you need it to. Plays great with, creature tutors. Plays great with flicker effects. All that jazz.
like just a couple of examples to like give listeners an idea of the amount of value that Lauren can accrue just from being played. Going back to last week playing Spider-Man 2099, they were playing The Lost and the Damned.
Card that makes a crazy amount of 3/3s.
Yeah. Uh they play Lost and the Damned. I top decked Lauren. I said, hey, that's a neat enchantment. It'd be a shame if I got rid of it. Slammed down Lauren. I said, blow it up.
Yeah, get rid of it.
Some behind the scenes testing with the committee crew. There was a Oath of Druids combo deck. They played Oath of Druids, got one activation, and I said, cool, Lauren.
Lauren, she's here.
Like, there's. Like, you don't really think about it until you actually think about it, or until it actually comes up about how critical an effect that Lauren will have on a game. Especially when you're playing flicker effects such as the Flicker Wisp and the Thalia, just being able to repeatedly get that trigger will add up over time.
Yeah, Disenchant has been a mainstay of so many formats for good reason, because those are great effects. And this one is stapled to a body, so it's a 2-for-1 and has more tricks.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about the whole, like, it's a card advantage engine. Granted, it is a symmetrical card advantage, but at the same time, though, like, your own card advantage will add up quicker than your opponent having card advantage. Like, unless we hit a land, our top decks are better quality than more often than not than what our opponents is doing.
This deck has 2-for-1 creatures all over the place.
Oh yeah.
Especially when it gets down to those weirder spots. Your late game, both players have very little in hand. I'll just take a draw with Lauren, and there's Recruiter of the Guard. I can do anything.
So yeah, Lauren of the Third Path might not seem that good on paper until you actually start to recognize the applications of where having a body like Lauren will be really good.
Yep.
Alright. We got a couple few creatures here coming up that we can kind of just breeze through because, again, they're mostly staples in other formats. They're very widely known. They're very widely known creatures that a lot of people already know about. So first on the list, we've got Giver of Runes and also Mother of Runes. You know, your typical give creature protection staples. Especially Mother of Runes being a staple of the Legacy Death and Taxes for over a decade, over a long time, like a long time. And then also having Giver of Runes on top of that with the recent Horizon additions. Cool. Now you get Mother of Runes.
Mother of Runes,
but doubled.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the backbone cards of Legacy Death and Taxes. It really sort of holds the whole list together. Because you got to protect those. Turn 1 Mother of Runes into turn 2 Thalia. Now Thalia is in play, and it doesn't die to bolt.
So, just staple cards of the format, of the archetype. Next include, not necessarily a staple of the format, but personally one that I think is a staple of the archetype. We have the Grand Abolisher. And along with that, we also have the Voice of Victory. Being able to put down either of these creatures and telling your opponent, my turn is my turn, makes interacting with what you're doing a lot harder to do. We don't really have too many things that we want to be doing on our opponent's turns. So being able to have free reign on our turn to actually be able to do our own thing and not be interacted with makes Grand Abolisher and Voice of Victory very good in this list.
Yeah. Put myself up on these guys.
So
I will constantly just forget, oh, right, I can't lightning bolt your creature. Wow.
gotta wait your turn.
But yeah, but beyond stopping, lightning bolts, they play great with Mother of Runes, because now they can't try to bolt in the end step, bolt again. Now it's, they all in one turn. Also, flicker effects just gonna work, and they kill the thing you flicker target.
Or like the whole Mother of Runes thing, they can't do like Mom during your attack step. Like if you're going in for combat, they can't just like declare block and then be like, oh, okay, now I'm gonna give my guy protection from the color so it doesn't die to your creature, but you lose your own. No. If we're trading, we are trading. No ifs, ands, or buts.
Abolish only my mom.
So yeah. There is additional text to Voice of Victory, which we can definitely cover later on when we get there. But going back to what we talked about earlier with the Auriok Champion and the Soul Sister effect, we do have the other one here. We have the Guide of Souls.
Guide of Souls.
1 mana, 1/2. Whenever another creature you control enters, you gain 1 life and get 1 energy. Whenever you attack, you may pay 3 energy. When you do, put 2 +1/+1 counters and a flying counter on target attacking creature. It becomes an angel in addition to its other types. This right here. So not even including the Soul Sister effect, the energy accumulation into the attack trigger is essentially that tipping point that allows us to effectively be able to finally start getting over and getting through in our combats. So we're not playing chess around combat to make sure that we actually can get through. This basically just says, hey, no, you're flying. You're going over.
Buffing Thalia's power, especially, making her a 4/3 flying first strike, that is so hard to deal with.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. On top of the tax. Oh, my God.
Yeah. But honestly, the biggest thing this one does, just give creatures flying.
Exactly.
Good keyword.
Like, even without the 2 +1/+1 power, just 3 energy, give a creature jump. Oh, my God.
Yeah. No more blocking. Now my creature can block your flying things. But then just life gain on top of that also. I mean, Modern Horizons 3 card, right? It's been a modern staple since it was printed. It has not fallen out of favor for good reason. This card is crazy.
I'm looking at you, Boros Energy. Yeah, no, Guide of Souls is like insane.
Yeah.
So, which does have some really funny interactions with a couple later cards. But going on to the next card, again, another Commander staple. We've already mentioned it a few times earlier. We have Knights of Sandoria, aka the Ranger Captain of Eos. 3 mana, 3/3.
Really good.
Yep, 3 mana, 3/3. ETB, search your library for a creature card, mana value 1 or less, reveal it, put it into your hand, sacrifice Ranger Captain, your opponents cannot cast non-creature spells this turn. Like, not even the whole sacrifice can't cast non-creatures, like, that part's secondary for, like, 90% of the matches I'm in, unless, it's like Ralstorm.
It happens, sometimes.
When it's relevant, it's relevant.
Nice to have as an extra tool. Yeah.
When it's relevant, it's relevant. But more often than not, it's not very relevant.
This is just a creature that goes and grabs another creature, and then is also incredible to flicker. But it's another one of those bodies. It's just a solid 2-for-1 every time.
Like just being able to go Ranger Captain, go find Sentinel, go find Mom, go find Stepmom, go find Guide of Souls, go find Ocelot Pride, like, all of the 1-drops are, like, just perfect value picks for Ranger Captain to go find. At that point, it's not so much of like, where's that one specific one that's really good that I always go get? Now you actually have value in your options, and now it comes down to the choice of, okay, which one is actually helpful right now?
And this card got a lot better with Modern Horizons 3, giving you Guide of Souls and Ocelot Pride, making it also able to just grab real threats that can hurt people.
Speaking of one drops that Ranger Captain Aveos can go find, let's talk about the Lightstall Inquisitor.
This one's funny.
No, this is a new one that recently came out in Edge of Eternities. As soon as this card was spoiled, I'm like, I have to try this out. I have to give this a chance. And let me tell you, oh, it puts in work. So we have a 1 mana 2/1 with Vigilance. Draw the line right there. That is already an insane stat line, because we see how much value a 1 mana
Lions with Vigilance, yeah.
We already see how much value a 1 mana 2/1 gets you. I'm looking at you, my Ragavan fans. Like, just a 1 mana 2/1 is already insane value. Now we give this thing Vigilance? But let's talk about the real reason of why we play this in the Death and Taxes. When Lightstall Inquisitor enters the battlefield, each opponent exiles a card from their hand and may play that card for as long as it remains exiled. Each spell cast this way costs 1 more to cast. Each land played this way enters tapped.
Yeah. So this one, it's kind of a more aggressive take on Esper Sentinel, honestly.
This one feels it feels like it takes a lot of different key, like, segments from different cards and makes it all one paragraph, right? Because you've got the pseudo Thoughtseize effect, where you basically rip a card from their hand. Granted, they can still play it, but they're playing it from exile, right? So you rip a card from their hand that they can play later, but now you staple the Thorn of Amethyst / Thalia effect on there, in that now that spell costs 1 more to cast. But now we're also going to throw on the, the Thalia Archon effect of, your land is going to enter tapped.
Yeah, just make that card a little worse. What if your spells and your lands were just slower, while I attack you with this 2/1 Vigilance?
Oh, and you know what? Let's make this even funnier. I'm going to say turn 1 Lightstall. Oh, I'm going to say turn 2 Drannith.
Yep.
I hope
card's just gone.
I hope you weren't planning on playing that card anytime soon.
Hope you exiled a land that you didn't need. So it's a card gone.
Like, just it does sound like a lot of words that over the course of a game might not seem that relevant, but trust me, if you play this as like your turn 1, turn 2 play, you are slowing down your opponent
this card
so aggressively.
This card is very solid early, and I mean late game it's a 1 mana 2/1 still. It gets just a very real body later.
Yeah. But it is, when I saw this card spoiled from Edge of Eternity, I knew I had to give it a try, and it has performed every time I have had a chance to play it.
Yeah.
So, going on from there. So we talked about equipment that we can grab with Cloud and Stoneforge. Let's talk about the first one on the list that we can grab, which is the Lion Sash.
I love this card, actually.
So, Lion Sash, we have a 2 mana 1/1 artifact creature, Equipment Cat. For a white, exile target card from a graveyard. If it was a permanent card, put a +1/+1 counter on Lion Sash. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each +1/+1 counter on Lion Sash, and then you reconfigure for 2. Now, to kind of slightly...
Reconfigure is basically equip, for those of you who aren't aware.
Yes, so Reconfigure was introduced in Kamigawa Neon Dynasty, and basically you take these artifact creatures that can basically act as equipment, and reconfigure is the equip ability of artifact creatures that allow you to
Yep.
attach said artifact creature to another creature. The neat part is
Yeah,
that
this man is a sword.
reconfigure allows you to also unequip that card.
Yeah, you
Unlike
can turn it back into a dude.
unlike the standard equip, where the only way to take it off the creature is to either give it to another creature, or the actual creature has to die that was holding it. Reconfigure allows you to attach it to a creature and then also unattach it to a creature. But that's kind of the secondary effect. The main effect
Yep.
is the graveyard hate. The one white spot removal a card from a graveyard. And if it's a permanent, your Lion Sash gets bigger. This thing is
That
like
scavenging ooze effect. This thing is so annoying for graveyard decks.
like this plus like Scavenging Ooze plus like Deathrite Shaman plus like anything that just does spot removal of a graveyard is really good. But the plus side of Lion Sash is because it is classified as an equipment, you can go find it with Cloud, and you can go find it with Stoneforge Mystic. This is a creature that is bending the rules of other cards to break this game.
Yeah. Yep.
Like,
Yeah, Stoneforge Mystic can tutor Scavenging Ooze now. But this thing, it both gets really big, really fast. I've seen this thing easily be like an 8/8 and just crush people. It's really good to also attach to fire. Now you don't care about their blockers. You can just hit for 10 in the air pretty easily. And yeah, it just eats the grape. Stop any of that effect.
let me give my Lion Sash to my Archon of Emeria.
Like, no, flying Archon of Emeria just hitting you twice. What do you do about that? As well, under the Archon, spell a turn. Ah, cool. All my extra mana just goes into Lion Sash.
Exactly.
That's taxes.
That is my taxes at work. But no, like the because there's a multitude of ways that you can find Lion Sash. Like I said, you can find it with Cloud, you can find it with Stoneforge, you can find it with Recruiter of the Guard. Like there are a multitude of ways that you can go find this card if you need graveyard hate. So, from here, moving on to our next card, we are going to skip Mother of Runes because we already talked about Mom earlier, another staple of the Death and Taxes archetype. Now we're going to go to quite possibly the
Been mentioned
biggest,
a bit.
quite possibly the biggest offender of Horizons 3, more than Guide of Souls, more than Thalia, more than Flage. We are talking about the infamous, notorious Ocelot Pride. We have a 1 mana 1/1.
This card is gross.
Yeah, we have a 1 mana 1/1 with First Strike and Lifelink. Has the ability Ascend, which isn't stated on the card here, but as a reminder text, if you
You
control
have 10 or more permanents, you get the City's Blink.
and if you get less than 10 permanents, doesn't matter. Once you have City's Blessing, you have City's Blessing. Now, the part that makes this a criminal. At the beginning of your end step, if you gained life this turn, cough cough Auriok Champion, cough cough Guide of Souls, create a 1/1
Off lifelink cat.
create a 1/1 white cat creature token. Then if you have the City's Blessing, for each token you control that entered the battlefield this turn, create a token that's a copy of it.
So this one, it builds its own board. If you drop it on turn 1 especially, it will just make 2 cats. Down the line, it'll make a cat every couple turns. If you don't have the Soul Sister, it has a known synergy with Guide of Souls, where you get to play a cat, gain a life, end step, get cat, get life. It'll pretty quickly put Guide of Souls into that jump thing range. You attack with Ocelot Pride. Now it's a 3/3 flying first strike lifelink.
Like the ideal optimal play, going off the line that you just said, we're gonna go turn 1 Ocelot Pride, we're gonna go turn 2 Guide of Souls, followed by Esper Sentinel, trigger Guide of Souls. Which, okay, now we gain our 1 life, we get our energy. Just from the Esper Sentinel. And then end step, we gain a life, gain an energy from the 1/1 cat that we get from the Ocelot Pride trigger. Next turn, oh, we have 3 mana, literally play anything else in your hand, go to combat, swing Ocelot Pride, trigger Guide of Souls. Like, what do you do at that point? Now you have a 3/3 with first strike lifelink.
The interaction that's been ruling since the set dropped.
Just, oh my god. And this isn't even the main criminal interaction. We haven't even talked about the third piece of this crime, which is Voice of Victory. We'll talk about that interaction later, but just the fact that Ocelot Pride, with any form of life gain outside of swinging with Ocelot Pride itself, is literally just build your own army.
Yeah.
Like, the amount of...
This one is such a messed up...
Just, oh my god.
But,
the speed at which you go wide.
Especially with other life gain cards or other token cards, this card just hangs, but it doesn't need either of them.
Just, it's criminal. This card was a mistake. Like, we talk about cards that are mistakes over the course of Magic's history, like Thragtusk back in the Bant control days of M13. We talk about Ragavan and the first Horizons. We talk about, like, fucking Nadu from Horizons 2. Ocelot Pride
Nadu was 3.
Oh, was Nadu 3? I thought Nadu was 2.
Nadu was 3. Hogak was 2.
Hogak, right. Yeah, Hogak from 2, Nadu in 3. No, like, Ocelot Pride is up there as being a war crime in the game.
Yeah.
Like, people complain about Bowmasters and Mystic Study.
It's more fair than some of those, but this one...
Just now. Like, people talk about, like, Mystic Study and, like, Orcish Bowmasters and, like, the One Ring being a crime. No, like, those are just, like, standard street crime. Ocelot Pride is a war crime.
I mean, I'd rather play against this guy than the One Ring. I hate that card so much.
I don't really mind the One Ring, and there's a fun little creature in this list that we will get to later, which is the exact reason why I don't care about the One Ring. Also, and it's not even
got Clarion Conqueror.
I was about to say, I completely forgot that I also played Clarion Conqueror. No, I just recently started playing Conqueror. No, There's a different card in here that permanently deals with the One Ring, and it's a great flicker target too.
Which isn't in our format. We don't let the One Ring in here.
God, no. Speaking of flickering...
Imagine how many people would be playing Tinker.
Oh my god. Speaking of flicker effects, let's go to our next card. We have the good doggo, Thalia. We have a 2-mana 2/2 with Flash. Whenever Thalia attacks, exile up to one of the target non-land permanent. At the beginning of the next end step, return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. And if it entered under your control, Thalia gets a +1/+1 counter. Now, so this goes back to the point that I was making earlier with, like, the difference between, like, Flicker Wisp and Thalia, and kind of low-key why my dial leans more towards Flicker Wisp, is that Thalia is an attack trigger. So unless you actually have a way to ensure that Thalia can survive the combat, you're only really going to get one flicker trigger out of it, whereas with the Flicker Wisp being evasive with the flying and also an ETB flicker, you kind of get the value instantaneously. Now, that's not to say that Thalia doesn't have her place, being as, you know, she's got the flash. So you could just be like, on your end step, flash and Thalia, and then you get that flicker trigger on your next combat. But again, you also have to play through the combat, because if you want more than one trigger off of Thalia, you have to make sure that Thalia survives the combat. But even disregarding that semantic, having another flicker effect in a deck of very powerful, very good ETB effects is very good.
Yeah. No, this one's another where you recruiter for Thalia, play Thalia, attack with Thalia, flicker recruiter, go grab Flicker Wisp, play Flicker Wisp, flicker recruiter. Thalia, it doesn't quite do the same messed up things here as it does in Modern or Legacy, because we don't have Quantum Riddler, we don't have Overlord. But Bear Thalia just flicker out ETB effects. It's really solid still.
That there's just something to be said about being that person that can give oppressive cards a new meaning just by playing them differently. Like, Underworld Breach is a perfect example. Like, everyone automatically associates Underworld Breach as being like a combo end the game piece. I mean, I play Fair Underworld Breach in Boros Burn just so I can replay a few burn spells for the turn. Like, you can take all these overpowered cards and play them very fair.
I've been doing that here. I used to do that all the time before we got more Titans.
And now you're on your bullshit again.
Now it's worse.
Oh, yeah. So, again, Thalia, just another flicker your ETB targets. And going back to the line that we were talking about with the very next card itself, Recruiter of the Guard. 3 mana 1/1 ETB, search your library for a creature card with toughness 2 or less, put it into your hand, and then shuffle. Which I'm pretty sure grabs, like, everything in here except for, like, Clarion Conqueror.
It doesn't grab Archon or Clarion, sadly. But
Yeah,
it grabs a lot of things.
Yeah. It could grab Flicker Wisp. That is something that we mentioned. Yeah, I think of, like, the actual, like, really, really key cards. It can't grab those, but it can grab other stuff that can still have a huge impact on the game. Like, it's not going to be able to grab Dranith. It's not going to be able to grab
This is
Voice.
one of those card advantage spells where it'll really just push forward on your own advantage, give you more things that attack well. Yeah, especially with the Flicker Wisp lines. But just play Recruiter, go grab a, maybe a Lauren of the Third Path. That's a 3-for-1 on its own.
Or, Recruiter, go find Mom or Stepmom. Recruiter, go find Grand Abolisher. Like, there's a lot of value in this list, especially because we are playing that lower to the ground format with everything being 3 mana or less. Like, there's a lot of value that you can go find. You could use Recruiter, go find Extraction Specialist.
Recruiter for Extraction Specialist, pick up the Lion Sash, start exiling their thing.
Or Recruiter, go find Specialist, pick up Dranith. So, again, like, Recruiter, just another one of those generically good tutor cards in a deck that doesn't necessarily have access to a lot of tutor options, unlike Green. Green has, like, all the tutor options. Like, I'm pretty sure, like...
Green gets the X spell tutors, yeah.
Like, isn't Worldly Tutor, like, the only one that's actually banned for Green?
I don't quite remember. I don't play those cards. I think Worldly is legal.
Oh. But, yeah, no, like, having access to another creature tutor in a color that doesn't exactly get all the tutors in the world, it's a pretty good card.
I believe Survival. Yeah, Survival of the Fittest is the banned one.
Yeah, I know Survival is banned.
But, yeah, all the other green creature tutors, those are all legal.
So, alright. But yeah, just a straightforward tutor. Going on to the next
Good
one,
tutor.
we already mentioned Sanctifier and Vec. Now, this next one,
Here's a silly one.
y'all are gonna call me crazy for this, but if any single card in this list is going to be what I consider my pet card, it's going to be this one. Because it is the legendary, or it's not even legendary.
It's not legendary.
It is a very
the great and powerful.
It is a notoriously, historically famous Death and Taxes card from the Legacy archetype. We have the lovely, wonderful Sarah Avenger. Sarah Avenger.
2-mana 3/3 flying vigilance.
With the caveat that you cannot play Sarah Avenger during your first, second, or third turn of the game. But also, let's be real. A 2-mana 3/3 with flying and vigilance is going to be good no matter what point in the game that you play it.
Yeah. This card doesn't get bad as the game goes on. Especially because in Tiny, we don't have that large of creatures.
Mm-hmm.
No one's playing a World Breaker.
Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure the only flyer that can outright combat Sarah Avenger and win is Nadu.
Everyone loves Nadu.
No, we don't.
I will also call it Endurance as a great answer for it.
The thing is, the thing is that I said can
you
win.
You did say flyer, so you weren't wrong.
Well, the more caveat statement that I was going for was can win, because Endurance is still a 3/3.
Yeah.
So
no, that's a 3/4.
Is it a 3/4?
I forgot. 3/4.
I thought it was a 3/3. I was gonna say, like, at worst it can trade.
Endurance eats DRCs for breakfast.
I thought at minimum it would like trade. No, yeah. So like the only two things that it will
Endurance good card.
Yeah, like Endurance and Nadu are probably like the only things that are like actively going to like combat a Sarah Avenger and win, with no outside help. Like, and it's straight on, 0 buffs, 1-on-1. Like, it's just Endurance and Nadu are the only thing that are going to be taking this thing down.
Yeah.
But yeah, just...
Yeah, there's definitely a couple bigger ones, but on a 2-drop, this thing hits real hard.
Oh, yeah. And again, like, the negative being that you can't play it during the first 3 turns, we get around that with Ether Vial.
Ether Vial getting around that is definitely a nice upside.
Yeah. Granted,
it's not as consistent as it would be in something like Modern or Legacy.
Yeah. Now, granted, the
really,
trade-off...
Just cast it.
Yeah. The trade-off with the Ether Vial is that still the earliest we can play it is on turn 3. Because, you know, you get turn 1 Ether Vial, turn 2 it gets 1 counter, turn 3 it gets that second counter. So the earliest we can put out a Sarah Avenger is turn 3. Without, like, dipping into green and doing, like, Mana Dork Acceleration, right?
Yeah.
But still, even being able to turn this, like, just 2 mana, 3/3 Flying Vigilance at any point in that game, you have now just put a massive threat into play. And, like I said, this thing is, like, a historically well-known staple of old-style Death and Taxes in Legacy. Like, this was your finisher in that old archetype.
Yeah.
So. Now, remember how earlier I mentioned that I have my own answer to the One Ring? That permanently gets rid of it?
Yeah.
Quite possibly one of my favorite additions to any singleton format, and a menace of the pods in CEDH whenever I manage to get a chance to play it. We are talking about the Skyclave Apparition. We have a 3-mana 2/2. Oh my god, Skyclave does so much work. We have a 3-mana 2/2, ETB, exile up to 1 target non-land, non-token permanent you don't control with mana value 4 or less. So this already is automatically targeting anything that's non-land in the format. But when you
apply token, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But when you apply that application to like General Commander, this thing can hit One Ring. This will hit One Ring, and it's an exile. And then for the rest of the statement, when Skyclave Apparition leaves the battlefield, that is a key clarification on that statement. Not just dies, just leaves the battlefield. The exiled card's owner creates an XX blue illusion where X is the mana value of the exiled card. So, the thing that makes this bonkers in this kind of list and this kind of format, it is a straight up exile effect on a body
Yep.
that you
This
get.
kills anything almost.
Yeah.
But any enchantment, creature, artifact, any of that, just get rid of it.
Now, granted, the caveat is that if you flicker the Skyclave, they do get a body out of it, but 9 times out of 10, we don't really care unless it is like the 3/3.
Yeah, especially the smaller bodies. Those just lose to Thalia.
Like the 1/1s
And this card
lose
is
to anything. The
this card
2/2s.
especially. This card especially getting tutored by Recruiter is so good.
Gets
Just
recruited by
giving
Cruder.
you a tutorable removal spell off of your creature.
And then if you turn it right around and you like flicker with like Thalia and Flicker Wisp, getting just additional exile effects on top of that is just so good. And again, this is on a pretty decently statted body. It's on a 2/2 body, which, you know, might not seem like much in this format, but again, you're playing it for the body with an exile effect.
Yeah,
Like
two
the-
twos are very real in this format.
Yeah, like the worst that is going to happen to this body is that you just trade with another creature. Yeah, you trade with another creature that'll actually have an effect on the game, and in exchange, they just get another body that just does nothing. And it's like, I don't really care that you get a body and we trade in combat. I got rid of a key piece on your board. What you gonna do about it? But yeah, like you mentioned, just being recruitable or being tutorable by Recruiter.
Great card for this deck.
Yeah. Great card for the deck. Great card in the format in general. Now, granted, being a 2 white in the cost might deter some people. I could definitely see an argument being made to playing this in a 2-color deck, maybe a 3 if your deck is primarily white. But very easily.
I've played this in Mathis recently. Yeah. Card's good.
Yeah.
White is pretty payable.
Yeah. But no, just one of my favorite cards that I've played, like especially in CEDH, like being able to like hit a 1 ring, being able to hit like an Obnixilis, being able to hit like a Ristic Study, just chef's kiss. This thing puts in so much work. Great card.
Oh yeah.
We already did talk about the Stoneforge Mystic. Now, going to Thalia, we have a bit of a glow up with her, right? So we start off as being a 2-mana 2/1 with the first strike, right?
Middle Thalia.
Let's just say she's seen some shit, and she gets a lot stronger.
Great.
So we have Thalia Heretic Cathar. I love this version. I've played this version in Modern with Little Thalia, and it was sicko mode. Like, turn 1 Champion of the Parish, turn 2 Little Thalia, turn 3 Big Thalia. Oh, man. People were crying.
Yeah.
So, for the listeners...
This is that Archon of Emeria. It can just... first strike 3/2. It's a 3 mana 3/2 human soldier. First strike, creatures and non-lands your opponent's control enter the battlefield tapped.
So, sticking to that theme of just a decently statted body stopping at first strike, a 3/2 with first strike, that is going to put a huge dent in combat with anything that steps in front of her.
Oh yeah.
But then going into beyond that with creatures and non-basics enter tapped. Whew. This
one's really good at putting that pressure on. Again, that tax, stopping that mana, the turn they come down, making blockers harder to establish. Very little can really block her well. Yeah, she's great at just getting through.
Again, another really good target for that Guide of Souls trigger, making her a 5/4 with flying. Oh,
Yeah.
good luck bolting
A
that.
5 power first striker. Those have been good at points.
But overall, just another really good example of what Death and Taxes is all about, right? Just laying down a very straightforward tax, not entirely just outright stopping your opponent, but just making it very, very hard for them to do what they want to do. Just textbook Death and Taxes right here. But, going down to our last creature in the list, until we hit the sideboard. We have mentioned this a few times with the couple interactions and also with the Grand Abolisher. We have the Voice of Victory, which, again, just a standard. My turn is my turn. 2 mana, 1/3. Your opponents can't cast spells during your turn. Now, that already on its own sounds pretty good. Where the shenanigans arise is Mobilize 2. Now, what that means is that whenever a creature with Mobilize attacks, you make a number of 1/1 red warriors tapped and attacking equal to your Mobilize value. So since Voice of Victory says Mobilize 2, whenever Voice of Victory attacks, we make 2 1/1 warriors tapped and attacking. Which goes really good with Guide of Souls.
Yeah, a lot of creatures on this one.
You're basically getting 3 bodies with 3 power for 2 mana every combat. And if you think that's not dumb, so earlier when I mentioned the Ocelot Pride Guide of Souls trigger, right? So
Yep.
you have Guide of Souls out on board, you have Ocelot Pride out on board, you have Voice of Victory out on board, you swing Voice of Victory, you make your 2 warriors, you get 2 triggers of Guide of Souls, you get your 2 life, you get your 2 energy. Go to end step, Ocelot Pride will trigger, and if you have City's Blessing, not only do you make the 1/1 cat from the Ocelot Pride, you make another 1/1 cat from the Ocelot Pride itself for City's Blessing, and then you make 2 more warriors that don't get sacrificed.
Yeah.
For having 3 cards
Yeah, those-
and City's Blessing, you basically just
the way
made...
Mobilize works is that the way Mobilize works is that you get 2 1/1s, and it creates a trigger inside of the Mobilize ability to kill them at end of turn. If you copy them, you just get a creature that never had that set up. It just never dies.
So, yeah, for the cost of 3 bodies, 4 mana, you're getting, like, a lot of bodies out of one single combat.
Yeah.
So, yeah, when I mentioned that Ocelot Pride was a war crime compared to some of the criminal activities that go on in this game, I was not kidding when I said it is a war crime card.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So yeah, all sorts of creatures. Not many of them actually like directly aiming to do damage. They're really just here to slow them down, get rid of things, stop them from doing things, and eventually hit them down sometimes.
We are aiming more or less to play a War of Attrition gameplay style, right? Like, we want to accumulate value at a much more efficient pace than our opponent. Not necessarily a faster pace, but we want to slow down their efficiency to the point that our efficiency is just better. So, which again goes down to a lot of our creatures are just... Our top decks with our creatures are just exponentially better over time in that our value that we can accrue is just better, right? Like, we've got the Recruiter lines, we've got Stoneforge Mystic and Cloud being able to go find things like Lion Sash and some of the other artifacts. Extraction Specialist being able to just bring back a mom or a stepmom or a Drannith. Like, all of these creatures aim to just have actual value, whether it be value in the turn that it come into play or value that is just accrued over time. Everything is just value. So, but that is half this deck done. Shall we go on to the other half?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go on to the other half.
Yeah.
So, instant, we only play one instant. We play the best white removal spell in the deck.
Spell.
The one removal spell that is not Skyclave. We play Swords to Plowshares. And unironically, I've unironically been back and forth on the fence of actually taking out swords. I have the thing is like
Seems crazy to me, but
I've been on the fence about it, but I think the main deciding factor is if I can find something that provides enough value and enough reason to play over swords.
yeah.
I think the main reason that's pushing me to make that decision is the fact that because it is affected by my own Thalia. Yeah, Thalia is a universal effect, so I am also affected by my own Thalia.
Yeah.
I think that right there is like one of the main deciding factors that's pushing me to consider these options, right? So I feel like if I can find a valid enough option to play over swords, I would definitely at least give it a test. But for right now, swords is here to stay. It is like hands down the best white removal in our format. Like, I've been pushing people to also consider Path to Exile, because like, let's be real. If you play Path to Exile in the early game, it might be detrimental to you. But like, the longer the game goes on, that one extra mana is not going to do a whole lot, because by that point you already have like 6 or 7 mana in play, and it's like, oh no, whatever will I do? I have 7
especially
mana.
later game, it can be great.
Yeah, I have 7 mana, 2 cards in hand. Oh no. Like, I think that's like the balancing act between those two is like swords is good early game, but as the game goes on, like swords just loses value because now you're actually trying to push for that combat damage to win, whereas now Path to Exile just starts to rise in value because by that point, like I said, you already have like 6 or 7 mana in play, but you're also playing with like 2 or 3 cards in hand. Like, you're not going to be able to just like dump your entire hand all at once, like play 4 or 5 things just because you got 1 extra mana, but it definitely, it's more of a balancing trade-off, right? But yeah.
Yeah.
Our one
absolutely.
instant, we played the Swords to Plowshares because it's just a classic. Now, going into other classics of the Death and Taxes archetype, we have the Ether Vial. We are now in our artifacts. So we have 1 mana.
Yeah.
At the beginning of your upkeep, you may put a charge counter on Ether Vial. That is a trigger that I always forget. It's always at upkeep. Tap, you may put a creature card with converted mana cost equal to the number of charge counters on Ether Vial from your hand onto the battlefield. So you remember how earlier I mentioned we have ways to cheat out Sarah Avenger before turn 4 when you can actually cast her? This is how we do it. Because Ether Vial doesn't actually cast the creature, right? You just put a creature into play.
Yeah, free stuff.
Yeah, we love free stuff.
Everyone loves free stuff.
Yeah. Which,
Yeah,
honestly,
this card gives some incredible mana advantage.
like, if you can go turn 1 Ether Vial, now granted, it could be very tempting to do, like, a 1 mana creature on turn 1, but if you have, like, a couple 1 mana turn plays, and you have an Ether Vial,
Yeah.
always go for the Ether
Ether
Vial.
Vial, turn 2, Gold Guide of Souls, also upright.
Oh my god, could you imagine, like, turn 1 Ether Vial, turn 2 Guide of Souls, Sentinel, Ocelot Pride? Ugh. Ugh. Yeah, no, like I said, if you have a bunch of 1 mana plays in your hand, and you have Ether Vial in your starting hand, always go for the Ether Vial, because that will just accumulate value as the game goes on. Because just being able to put stuff into play for free without having to use the stack, you're going to get around a lot of interaction and a lot of counter magic. And, like, the floor of this card is that, oh no, I ate a mental misstep. Whatever will I do? Next turn, hey, here's an Ocelot Pride that you wish you had that misstep for. Like, that is the floor of this card is that you just eat a mental misstep when you try to play a turn 1.
Yeah. Aether Vial, sometimes it'll fail to, like, properly, give you that mana advantage. But most of the time, this thing just goes crazy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, turn 3, being able to just drop, like, a 2-drop and a 3-drop at the same time. Oh.
Yeah.
Just insane. So, remember how I mentioned that we had quite a few options for our Stoneforge Mystic and Cloud to go find? We have finally reached those other 2 options.
We found them.
We found them. We found them. So the first one, which is actually a really, yeah, the first one that we have, which is actually really funny when you consider other applications with like Thalia and Flickerwisp, we are talking about the pre-war formal wear. So this is from the Fallout set. Yep. For 3 mana, we have an artifact equipment. It is a white mana, not 3 generic. It is a 1 white and 2 generic. So this is a white-only card. When PWF enters the battlefield, return target creature card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield and attach PWF to it. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and vigilance.
Yeah.
Oh my god. And the fact that
crazy.
And the fact that it is restricted to mana value 3 or less, this basically is just a free reanimate.
Yeah.
Like, it just targets literally anything. Literally anything, and it comes back stronger. It comes back with aura. It's like, yo dog, check out this sick bomber jacket that I found. Oh!
Yeah, but like, Archon of Emeria. Put it in as a 4/5 flying vigilance. What are they gonna do? How do you kill that?
Last week, playing against Spider-Man, I, dropped a Sanctifier in Vec, and then gave it the pre-war formal wear. So now I had a 4/4 with Vigilance, Pro Black, Pro Red.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah, that'll do it. So yeah, just a 3 mana reanimate anything, and it comes back with fucking aura. And the fact that you can flicker it with the just the fact that you can flicker it with Flickerwisp and Thalia is just insane value. Like, honestly, a really funny play. You play pre-war formal wear, get Flickerwisp, flicker pre-war formal wear, end step comes back, get another body. It's like, oh, I have this 3/1 with flying.
Pre-war...
Yeah.
And a pre-war body, yeah.
Yeah.
This card is messed up.
Yeah,
but
it
especially,
is.
like, play Stoneforge. Grab this on turn 3. What are they going to do? Kill Stoneforge? Play pre-war, get Stoneforge back. Now you have a 3/4, and you can go grab Lion Sash.
Or, as a perfect segue, you can go find the other option. You can go find Shadow Spear.
Shadow Spear. Or whatever this Lara Croft thing is.
Totex Spear. For 1 mana, we have another artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+1, has trample and lifelink. Like, that alone right there, that is just the key line that makes Shadow Spear, like, really good. The other half of it, vaguely. For 1 mana, permanent your opponent's control, lose hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. Not as relevant as the 1 mana +1/+1 trample lifelink.
Yeah. No, equip 2, not too bad a cost. Just, like, throw that on any reasonably sized creature. Like, make Thalia a 3/2 lifelink first strike trample.
Or,
How's aggro beat that?
Or, make Thalia a 4/3 trample lifelink first strike, and your opponent's creatures enter tapped. Yeah, how does aggro beat that?
Or do the Stoneforge thing we mentioned. Go grab Shadow Spear. Put it on there. Now it's a 4/5 vigilance trample lifelink.
Oh
That's
my
almost a
god.
batter skull.
Yeah. God, don't remind me of that
So it's
time.
better than batter skull, yeah.
I was Better Skull, my beloved.
Yeah. Like, batter skull made it back. Good job, man.
God. We have done it. But
My good buddy batter skull, they return.
we have Better Skull at home. Oh man. But yeah, no, like Shadow Spear, there are like so many ways in this format to grab Shadow Spear. Like we've already talked about a few of them. We talked
Yeah.
about the Cloud, we talked about the Stoneforge Mystic. There is one additional way, which we'll get to that later, but there's quite a few different ways you can find Shadow Spear, and between pre-war formal wear and Shadow Spear and Lion Sash, the equipment is like really good. Just in the main deck, that's not even including what we have going in the sideboard. Like just those three in the main deck alone is like, so good.
Yeah.
All right, so last thing we have before we get to the land base, which there's only 3 or 4 land that we have to talk about. We have our enchantments. So first one we have on the block is we have Authority of the Consuls. Again, just kind of a slow your opponent down while also making the aggro game plan much worse. For 1 mana, creatures your opponent's control enter the battlefield tapped. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, you gain 1 life. Short, sweet, to the point. This is just your anti-aggro. Just straightforward
It's just
anti-aggro.
really good at making aggro bad.
Mm-hmm. And as
All
a
their creatures enter tapped, and whenever they play one, you get life back.
Mm-hmm. And as a segue, there's also the next enchantment. We have Blind Obedience for 2 mana. Artifacts and creatures your opponent's control enter the battlefield tapped. Now, the other addition to this is that Blind Obedience does come with the Extort keyword.
Yeah.
Which, as a reminder to the people in the back, yes, Extort does have a hybrid white-black symbol in its card. It is a reminder text. It is not part of the identity, which means I can play this in a mono white. If I have a black card, such as Cryptghast, with the Extort keyword on it, I can play that in a mono black deck, because the symbol is a reminder text. Anyway, so yeah, between like Authority of the Consuls and Blind Obedience, just slowing down the aggro game plan, especially Authority giving you life gain on top of that, and Blind Obedience also being able to target artifacts. You know, things like the treasure tokens that some decks are making, the clue tokens that some decks are making. I know that there was like a food combo that was going around for a bit. Stops that as well.
Yeah. No, it's very good at just putting everything in tapped. Get rid of it.
Mm-hmm. Now, speaking of removal, I originally did not include this when I first made this list and was getting back into the format. Yes, I've played since the original Tiny Leader. Haha, yes, I'm an old head. Someone suggested to me that I give On Thin Ice a try. So for 1 white, we have a Snow Enchantment. Enchant Snow Land you control. We're playing basic snow-covered plains in our land base. Don't worry. When On Thin Ice enters the battlefield, exile target creature and opponent controls until On Thin Ice leaves the battlefield. I'm not gonna lie, I was not familiar with this card until someone suggested it to me. And the few times it has come up, it has put in work. It has definitely put in work.
In mono white especially, if you could just, it lands, just make your land snow. There's no downside to doing that. Just have a couple basics. This is just almost a plow.
Mm-hmm.
Just a sorcery. It's like Oust. It's really good.
Mm-hmm. So yeah,
little downside.
It's just a straightforward game plan. Like if you're playing mono white, you just play your snow covered basics, and On Thin Ice is just free removal.
Yep.
So
absolutely.
Now, speaking of the snow-covered basics, let's talk about a few key land choices that we have going on here. So, a couple...
Real quick.
Yeah.
Sorry about this.
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
actually got to go. This has gone on a little longer than I thought it would. So I'm going to leave you to do the lands in the sideboard.
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah. glad I could do this with you.
Yeah, for sure.
Been good. Yeah.
Hopefully, we'll start the next one earlier. It was a bit
Yeah.
late, but anyway,
Yeah.
you
Sorry.
get out of here. I have
Cool.
I have stuff to talk
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
All
Cool.
right.
You have a good one.
Yep.
See ya. Bye.
Wow. So, everyone, that was my good buddy Esper. So, all right. So yeah, basically, we just only have a few land to talk about, and then the sideboard options. So the few key notes in our land. One of the main ones that we have is we have the Abandoned Air Temple. So the key one here is that for 4 mana and tap it, you can put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. So definitely more of a late game closer kind of card. You know, you've got your board state established and all that. You can start putting a few mana into the Air Temple and making all your board state bigger, and then now you can start actively attacking in combat and, you know, winning your trades. We've got the Field of Ruin and the Ghost Quarter and the Wasteland, just spot removal of some troublesome land. I know there's a couple decks out there that do like Glacial Chasm and Dark Depths and stuff like that. A couple combos like that. Just some land spot removal of that. Now, earlier I mentioned that there was another way that we could get our Shadow Spear, which is the Urza's Saga. So, Saga land, page 1, we can tap out a colorless. Page 2, 2 mana and tap, and we can make a star construct, where star is the amount of artifacts that we control. Not as relevant in this format, or necessarily even this deck, because we're not really playing a lot of artifacts to abuse that count. The real important one is the page 3, where we can go search our library for an artifact with mana cost 0 or 1. So basically, this is our way of being able to go find something like Ether Vial or Shadow Spear, and things like that. It also goes and finds a couple of our other sideboard options, which we're about to get to in a second. Iganjo technically could be relevant in some cases. Tap out a white for a channel of 2 colorless and a white. Discard Iganjo. It deals 4 damage to target attacking or blocking creature. Costs 1 less to activate for each legendary you control. If we have Thalia out, this is a 2 mana, 4 damage to a creature in mono white. Not bad for making sure that damage gets through. So, there we go. With that, that is our main board of Thalia, Death, and Taxes. Now, let's go ahead and go into our sideboard here and talk about a few of the options that we have going on here. So, make sure we can still see the larger card. Alright, so first option we have is Charismatic Conqueror. For 2 mana, we have a 2/2 with Vigilance. Whenever an artifact or creature enters the battlefield untapped and under an opponent's control, they may tap that permanent. If they don't, you make a 1/1 white vampire creature token with lifelink. This is basically just another effect of forcing our opponent's things to enter tapped. Or if they don't, then... Oh no, give me 1 second here. Oh no, there we go. I am back. Basically just another effect of if things... We basically force our opponent's things to enter tapped, and if they don't, we get free bodies out of it. Seems pretty good. Going into our second sideboard card here, we have the Deafening Silence, basically another anti-control, anti-storm, anti-prowess card. Each player can't cast more than 1 non-creature spell a turn, and we get that for a singular white. So, very good effect to have against your storm, prowess, spellslinger type decks. Next card, we have the Mirren Crusader. This is a bit of a flavorful pick, but every time that I've brought it in, it has been very, very good. For 3 mana, we have a 2/2 with Double Strike, protection from black and from green. So again, we are playing off the stat line of a decent body being a 2/2, protection from black and protection from green. So again, we're dodging like majority of removal from black. Not necessarily a card that we bring in against red decks, unless we also have like our mom or stepmom. But again, being able to dodge black, being able to dodge some of the green cards, like Nadu or Tarmogoyf or Scavenging Ooze or a couple of other green effects that aren't already black. Plus, having Double Strike, oh no. Whatever will I do? It is a 2-2 with Double Strike that's going to smack you for 4, because I can't touch you with removal. So, overall, just a very decent body to have against certain matchups. Going into our anti-activation package, again, another target that we can go find with Urza Saga. We have the Pithing Needle, and paired with it, we also have the Phyrexian Revoker. So, Phyrexian Revoker is a 2-mana 2-1. When enters the battlefield, choose a non-land card name. Activated abilities of sources with the chosen name cannot be activated. Now, there's a very distinct difference here, because Phyrexian Revoker states non-land. However, though, it does shut down mana abilities, whereas Pithing Needle does kind of the opposite, where you can name land, but you can't shut down mana abilities. So, for example, with Pithing Needle, if I really wanted to, I could shut down, say, a Thespian stage. I could shut down a Wasteland, or other land effects like that that have really good utility abilities, but 90% of the time you're mostly going to be targeting other key combo pieces. For example, you can name Marath, you can name Grist, you can name Mother of Runes, you can name Giver of Runes, you can name the flip side to Ralzeric. Basically, anything that has a very key, important activated ability, you're going to be looking for and naming with like your Phyrexian Revoker and your Pithing Needle. Next option we have is our Stony Silence. This one's more so of a anti-artifact card. There are a few like Tameshi and like Welder type decks that are starting to run around. So Stony Silence does a very, very good job at stopping that. Going into additional equipment pieces that are good in certain matchups, again, can be found with Cloud, can be found with Stoneforge Mystic. We have the Sword of Fire and Ice and the Sword of Light and Shadow. So both of them 3-mana artifacts, equipment, equip for 2. Light and Shadow being pro equipped creature gets pro white, pro black, and +2/+2. Fire and Ice being pro red, pro blue, +2/+2. Now, what makes Fire and Ice really good is that whenever a creature deals combat damage to a player, Sword of Fire and Ice deals 2 damage to the target creature or player, and you draw a card. This is also another source of card advantage to us. Yeah. This is quite a lot of talking. So again, card advantage, decent damage that can be pointed at a face, and again, dodges some pretty troublesome removal in the pro-red, pro-blue. Now, Light and Shadow, this one I'm kind of iffy about, but it is relevant in some cases. +2/+2, protection from white, protection from black. Whenever a quick creature deals combat damage to a player, you gain 3 life, and you may return up to 1 target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. So, much like how Auriok Champion and Sanctifier gets pro-red, pro-black, pro-white, pro-black gets around quite a bit of removal in this format. Now, if I were to put Light and Shadow on a Auriok Champion or the Sanctifier, congratulations, I dodge all the removal now. So, this one is more played for the reanimation effect, just being able to pick up creatures from our graveyards to be able to replay them, especially ones that also have ETB effects. Can be quite powerful as the game goes on. Going on from here, we have 2 cards left. Our first one is Warmth. Whenever one of your opponents plays a red spell, you gain 2 life for a 2-mana enchantment. This one is really good against your mono-red aggro, so your Gut, your Ragavan decks. It is also very good against your tempo list, so your Spider-Man 2099, your Belmore. I don't know, it's the Flying Sphinx Prowess deck. But it's also really good against Ral decks. Basically, any deck that is looking to just play a bunch of red spells, this one will exponentially start to outrace your opponent. Just for every spell they play, you get 2 life. Very, very good. Pairs very well with Ocelot Pride as well. And then our last option, again, just another land target spell, we have the White Orchid Phantom. We have 2 white, 2/2, flying, first strike. Again, another evasive creature with flying and first strike. When White Orchid Phantom enters the battlefield, destroy it to one target non-basic land. Its controller may search your library for a basic land, put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Now, granted, being the trade-off that they get a land out of it, not as detrimental as one may think, especially later in the game, but being able to just spot remove certain lands, while also being a 2/2 with flying, makes this a very, very good body to have. And with that, that is our sideboard, and with that overall, we have considered and covered all the options of the mono-white Death and Taxes of Thalia, Guardian of Thraben. I hope you enjoyed this breakdown of my list. I hope you enjoyed me sharing my passion deck project with you all. If you are interested in this format, I will leave a link to the lovely Discord server down in the description below. If you would like to further inspect this list and also keep up to date with various updates and changes I may make to the list, I will also include the Moxfield link. But as we all know, all good things must come to an end. Therefore, I will catch you all in the next video. And remember, pay your taxes and stay tiny.